Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. This is Dave Alton. I am with Strategic Information Resources, and we are going to be talking about Beyond the Chatbot, safely deploying agentic AI in your SMB, or at least getting prepared for it. So, wanted to give everyone a couple minutes to get into the room. So I'm going to go ahead and mute and come off camera. But around 11:35, we'll kind of kick things off and get things going. Welcome, everyone. I am Dave Alton, the Chief Technology Officer at Strategic Information Resources. We are going to be talking about Beyond the Chatbot, safely deploying agentic AI in your small business. And so we're going to dive right into this topic. It's very interesting, kind of what we're seeing right now. But let's talk about who we are. So Strategic Information Resources, or as people like to call us, Sirinc. We're a bunch of solutionists that want to make your tech work, keep your people protected, and your profits secured. We have a team of 15. We're based in Los Angeles, California, but have folks kind of all around the nation and clients all around the nation. But we have about 150 clients, and we just make their tech work. And we really firmly believe that communication is the foundation of everything we do. So we really know that we're a service company that happens to be working in tech. And as far as who I am, I'm the CTO. I've been at this for 20 years in various capacities. I've dealt with many cybersecurity frameworks. I used to head or be the chair of the GTIA Cybersecurity Task Force, where we helped develop some security technology or some security frameworks for MSPs. I'm a trusted advisor. A lot of people call upon me to kind of help them look at security and align their tech to their business. Not the other way around, by the way. I don't ever align a business to the tech. It's really kind of the other way. I like to say I'm a maker. I do a lot of woodworking in my garage. I'm also a photographer. And I'm always tinkering or building something, whether that's with AI now or with wood in the garage. I have a lot of fun doing it. I also happen to be the proud parent of a 14-year-old freshman baseball player who just finished his season, had a great year. We're very, very proud of him, and we're looking forward to him continuing next year with the baseball team. And with that, we're going to jump into the content. So, why are you here? If you've said any of these things, this is absolutely 100% a session for you, right? You're using AI, but I'm not sure what my team is actually doing with it. We see that one a lot. I feel like I'm behind, but I also don't want to make a mistake. Maybe you bought some Copilot licenses and you're not really sure how anybody's using them, including yourself. And then you're worried about what happens when AI starts taking action on its own, Terminator kind of vibes, right? And I'm here to tell you, luckily, the Terminator vibes you just let that one go. That's not coming anytime soon. But there is still some concern about having AI take action. So that's what we're going to dive into today. So we in 2023, ChatGPT released early that year, and that was kind of what we're calling the start of the AI phase one, which is really the Copilot era. And when I say Copilot, I'm not talking about Microsoft Copilot. I'm talking about, hey, AI is kind of sitting next to you and giving you some advice, and it's answering questions when you ask, and it's really smart and seems really, really capable of kind of answering those questions. But in 2026 and late 2025, that really has kind of changed. We're starting to head into this what people are calling the agentic era, and that's really where AI can take action on its own, right? It can route tickets, maybe it updates records, it can book meetings for you, it can move data without necessarily waiting for your explicit command to make that. And again, this isn't bad. It's good. It's kind of what we want. It's taking workflows and kind of making them easier and quicker. And the real question is do we have the right guardrails in place before we let that start happening? And I just wanted to point out this stat that I came across as I was doing the research for this presentation, and by the end of this year, the global AI market is projected to reach around $1.77 trillion. And at the start of 2023, it was, some might say it was $10 billion. I think it was a lot lower than that, closer to $1 billion that first year. But the amount of growth that we've seen in this arena is it's been shocking, to be honest with you. Now, some of this growth is the lovely reciprocal investments that you're seeing NVIDIA make with AI companies like Anthropic and OpenAI and Google and these, and then them kind of going back and investing in NVIDIA. So I don't know how accurate that $1 trillion is, but it is a lot more than what it started with in 2023 at this point. So one of the things I like to say is that AI is really good at making a bad process fail faster. And, right now we're seeing a lot of kind of, I would say charlatans, but folks that are maybe saying, oh, hey, listen, I can save you 20 plus hours a month per employee if we just automate stuff. And while that may be true, it does require you to have some level of understanding of your processes, right? It's really, really easy to kind of just say, oh yeah, AI is going to do all this stuff, but without the kind of understanding of what it potentially can do if you turn it on without doing some of this pre-work, it can be bad. So one of the things we talk about is, AI agents generally surface a lot of files, a lot of information that maybe you didn't know was accessible by staff or people around you or people that work for you, or maybe even people that don't work for you, contractors and things like that, people that you've given access to your systems. It's not bad. It's just your permissions were a little too broad to turn on for AI. And then AI is able to surface a lot of data that, quite honestly, is too hard for a human to kind of go and surface. But if you just go chat with the AI, you can find out that, oh, hey, you just surfaced a bunch of HR material, right? We're seeing AI agents send draft emails to clients directly without any kind of human review. We generally don't recommend that. We're generally, before it goes out, it needs to be reviewed by a human, right? Called human in the loop, or an approval gate, a human approval gate. And then the thing that we'll kind of talk about is AI agents can burn these things called tokens. And a token is just in AI parlance is a word, right? So every word that an AI inputs or outputs, there's a cost to that. Right now, OpenAI's ChatGPT 5.5, it's $5 per million input tokens, and it's around $30 per million output tokens. And while that doesn't sound like a lot, and it sounds like, oh, wow, like a million words, it seems like a lot. I have some stories for you that are going to shock you. And it's just something you need to be aware of, that as we move into this agentic realm, the kind of that chat, ubiquitous chat, oh, I can chat with it as much as I want to, that kind of changes and doesn't work quite the same way. So let's talk about the first problem, right? Having a little too much data out there. So this is just an example that we've seen. A sales team buys Copilot, they connect it up to SharePoint. They really just want some help in drafting their contracts, making it faster, making it go quicker. Within an hour of the AI being connected to SharePoint, it was surfacing unredacted HR performance reviews and executive compensation spreadsheets to the entire sales floor. It also was able to kind of show everyone what everyone's compensation plan was, including their commission. And this isn't uncommon, because a lot of times we don't really look at that data and go, oh, well, that's risky. I don't want that getting out there. But if my team knows it, it's no big deal. We have found that is generally not the case. So you really want to kind of know what it is that you're giving access to the AI, because it can surface that data much, much quicker, right? The AI didn't really break any security controls. It just inherited the permissions that you had already put in place and had accumulated over time, right? It was organic in growth. And you might have given people access to things and been like, it's fine. It's no big deal. What are they going to see? And so the company really didn't go in and classify the data. They didn't look at their permission audit, and they didn't really have an AI governance policy. So the lesson here is before you deploy an agent, you have to know what it can see. And that does mean there's some upfront work that needs to get done beforehand, before it's ready to be turned on and everybody kind of have access to it. So your AI is only as safe as your data. So what does that mean, right? It means that if your data that is exposed to the AI has, PII or PHI, has financial data or confidential client information, maybe you have some patents or trade secrets that you want to protect, you may not want to have all of that exposed data in your AI. You may be better off leaving that in a confidential kind of form. And so you're going to classify that data and keep it from being seen by an AI in any way, shape, or form, right? The other thing that we see is dirty data, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad data. It's just it's outdated, or it's duplicative, or it's unstructured, that really causes the AI to kind of see things differently, right, or hallucinate. And what it's important, or that data, while it's important for compliance reasons and maybe document retention, you maybe don't want to expose that to the AI. So one of the things that we talk about doing is, hey, take that data and just kind of wall it off, put it in an archive, and the archive isn't exposed to the AI. It's not allowed to kind of see that. And then the last thing is shadow data, or data that's stored in unauthorized SaaS apps that your AI governance policy doesn't really cover, right? So this is HubSpot or Salesforce, and there's a notes field, and people are putting things in that notes field that maybe they shouldn't put in there, like social security numbers or things like that. So again, it's not really bad, but you don't really realize that once that is exposed in a tool, in AI, you can have some issues with that from a governance standpoint or your internal policies, right? The key point of all this is that 80% of small businesses don't really have a formal AI strategy or data governance roadmap for that matter. Without one, your AI agent is really operating in an uncontrolled environment. So you want to take those and have those in place again before you implement AI. It's really a key important spot. So your team, whether you like it or not, is already using AI. Do you know which tools they're using? We have often gone in and done audits and found they are using a lot of tools and most of them have not been approved. I like to say that if you are not paying for your AI, then you are the product. It is capturing your data. It is capturing what you put into it. It is storing that. It is technically OpenAI's or Google's or Anthropic's data at that point. They use that for training. If you're not paying for your AI, then the AI companies can train on your data. That means your data is now in a somewhat public, view. So you really want to be careful with, hey, what tools are we using, and making sure that people are using only tools that you are able to audit and look at and things like that. So once you have that formal AI usage policy, then you can set standards like, hey, if you want to use AI, that's fine, but you can only use this one, right? That we're watching and paying attention to. Proprietary code, client emails, financial data are being pasted into public consumer grade AI models all the time. And that data is now that AI company. So you have to be really, really careful with it because you can get in trouble with FTC safeguards. There's some standards around the law. And when your company data enters that public model, you lose control of that permanently, right? It is somebody else's at that point. So the fix for this is provide a secure private AI environment, such as a properly configured Microsoft 365 Copilot instance or a ChatGPT instance or even an Anthropic instance, where your data stays within your tenant and it's not used to train external models. So right now, the way people work with AI, it's ubiquitous. You can kind of use it as much as you want. But when you start moving into agentic AI, you get into a consumption-based pricing. And what we have seen is that consumption-based pricing can get out of hand really, really quickly. I read an article just recently where a small business, I think they had 40 or maybe it was 60 employees. I can't remember if it was a mortgage company or they were in the real estate kind of arena. They had started using some automation and they were using AI to do that automation. And they had tested it and it looked great. And they decided they were ready to scale it. And so they turned it on and they turned it on for everything. And they received a $1.3 million bill from our friends at ChatGPT. And the issue was the end user didn't understand how, like when they were testing it, it was consuming a small amount of tokens, but the way the tokens were being consumed when it went at scale, it really didn't line up. They didn't understand how big they were generating or how much token use they were generating when they did this. So it's really important to put like kind of 3 guardrails in place to prevent that, what we call token shock, right? Set a hard monthly token limit before deploying any AI agent, right? Whatever your limit is, $300, $100, $5,000, it doesn't matter, but set a limit because then it can't go over your approved budget without your approval. So that way you're not going to get a $1.3 million token bill from, OpenAI. Require human approval before any agent scales beyond your defined thresholds or initiates high volume actions, right? You really want to turn it on and then, okay, how quickly did I burn through my tokens that I gave the budget to? Oh, $50 worth went in 30 seconds. Well, think about that if it runs all the time. What is that going to cost you, right? Pay attention to that type of stuff. And then you really ought to audit what you currently have. Microsoft and Google both have AIs. They're kind of built into those ecosystems that you may already be paying for and not realize it. And you really want to take advantage of those things before you go off and buy yet more AI or more tooling around AI. And this doesn't have to be complex. You don't have to talk about, this person does this thing and then that thing and this is over here. Like you need three real basic rules to kind of define an AI policy, right? Define the data boundaries, right? Explicitly state what data is allowed to be processed by AI and what is strictly off limits, right? Document it, enforce it in your system permissions. Enforce a human review at every decision gate. AI can draft, recommend, and analyze. Humans must approve anything that changes access, moves money, or goes to a client. No exceptions. And then finally, mandate approved tools only. Ban the use of public consumer-grade AI models for company business, and provide a secure private alternative and make it easy enough that people actually use it. Your people are using AI and they are using free AI because they don't want to pay for it, something that they're using it for your tool to be more productive or things like that. So take the time, find an AI that works for you, get on a plan that makes sense, and then make sure your staff and team are using that. So before you deploy, what should you do? First, map your silos. Identify every location where the company data lives, whether that's in a SaaS application, local drives, cloud storage, or just email archives. Audit your permissions. Apply the principle of least privilege. Remove all just in case access grants. So, he might need access to this, so let's give him that. The AIs generally inherit the person that's using its access. But if you just gave everyone access to everything as, your way of making it easy, you may have provided too much access and now the AI has the ability to kind of look across everything. Classify sensitive data. Any PII, any financial records, HR documents, client data, block all of that from being indexed inside the AI and make sure that those categories are always kind of maintained and managed. Clean up the junk drawer. This is a pet peeve of mine personally. We have clients that every year we go and buy another terabyte of data for, and they don't really need it, but it's too hard to kind of go in and say, yeah, that's a lot of data. I got to look at it and figure out what do I need, what I don't need. And just, it's time, right? Archive it, get it off onto some safe storage, but wall that off from your AI. If it's older than 3 years, you probably don't want the AI kind of running over that. Think about early AIs. When you asked a question, it would say, I don't really know. My training data is from, 2025, not 2026. So it didn't understand the outside world. Well, if you gave it information from a long time ago, you may end up inducing hallucinations when you don't want them. And always set the human in the loop rule. You have to make sure that these things are built well, that you're paying attention to it, and that it's actually requiring that human approval before the AI proceeds. And with that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the risks and the foundational work. This is kind of a 30-day plan. It's very loose. And there's some of this that really probably should take you more than a week, but it really is about 30 days worth of work, right? First, go in and audit, right? This is week 1. Inventory every tool your team is currently using, sanctioned and unsanctioned. Look at your credit card statements. I bet you there's a ton of stuff there. Pull a permission report from Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace or wherever you're allowing data to kind of live, and make sure hey, who has access to what? And then identify your top 3 data risk areas. This is where we keep HR stuff. This is personal private information. Maybe it's HR information. Maybe you have personal private information of your clients. Maybe you work in the health field and you have personal health information. All of that should be kind of walled off from the AI before the AI gets turned on. Apply those sensitivity labels, right? If it's a trade secret, if it's something that's really ultra critical to your business that you don't ever want getting out, take the time, put it in a confidential category. You really only need 3 in the small business realm. In enterprise, we get a few more categories, but it's really just public, private, and confidential, right? And private's kind of that in-between one where maybe I don't want AI using it, or maybe I do, but it's probably okay internally, but it's not okay externally. So you just got to be really, really careful with that, right? And then remove access from any former employees, contractors, or vendors that are still in your system. And that's just good data governance and IT governance. That should be being done on a regular basis. That's week 2. Week 3, govern, right? Your 3-rule AI governance policy, right? Keep it simple, make sure people understand it, and then communicate it out to your team in really simple language, right? Don't make it complex, make it something that's easy to use. And then week 4 is really just testing. Run a controlled pilot on one AI agent on a non-sensitive workflow. See how it works. See what your token burn is. Make sure that you have token limits in place before you kind of move forward. Monitor it for 7 days. Understand what that is going to look like. And then after you're done, after you've completed that, now you can turn it on at scale and you're not going to be surprised by a big bill. So with that, I will open it up to questions. I hope you guys all enjoyed the presentation. If there are any questions, you can drop them in chat, and I will take a look and see if there are any there now. It does not look like we have any questions. So I think we are going to move on, and we're going to kind of close this down. We make your tech work, keep your people protected and your profits secured. We have a cyber-first mindset at Sirinc. Relationships really matter to us, and we are your team of solutionists. So when you come to us with a problem, whether that's you need data governance, or you need to understand some configuration of Office 365, or you want to do something new like an AI readiness assessment, we are here for that and happy to help. So how do you get from where you are today to kind of what I talked about? We laid out some steps that you can try and you can do on your own, and you'll do fine. You could use AI to help you even, but if you run into problems, or you're not sure, or you really want an expert set of eyes on it, work with a partner, whether that's us or somebody else. It's an MSP or an AI professional. Take the time to go through this properly and understand exactly what it is you're getting into. Your business depends on it. Your team is depending on you to do it, and it's important to get done. So let's say you want some more help, or you need to kind of figure some things out. We have a link here that takes you to my calendar, and you can book time with me. This fills up pretty quickly right after we do one of these, but get on it. I'm happy to take a 15-minute call and kind of walk you through any kind of questions that you may have, or just talk to you about what does your strategy look like and how you might implement this. And finally, I want to thank you for joining us today. Hopefully you found the information interesting. For all those folks that are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. It helps a ton to expose this content to other people. But we're happy that you came, and we look forward to having you next time. Have a good one, everyone.